Ladies and gentlemen, the address of the 61st President of the Society of Actuaries. Once again, please welcome Mike McLaughlin.
Okay, thank you very much. You probably thought I was done there, but I'm back. So welcome again to New York. Welcome to our annual meeting. It's a pleasure to see all 1,900, by now probably 2,000. We've got guests from the UK, China, Japan, the Caribbean, actually all over the world. Thank you for coming. Our meeting will be more successful because you are here. We heard the word Ubuntu in Cape Town, South Africa, at the International Congress. Our meeting is better because we are here, we share this experience. I'll look back at my presidential year. It goes by very, very quickly. Just a few weeks ago, someone said, well, now what will you do with all your spare time now that your term of office is up? And I said, well, I have a few actual clients that might like to see me in person, so we'll be back at work later this week. It's been a busy year. It's been an exciting year. It's been a pleasure. Looking back, I think that we did what we said we were going to do. I spoke to you a year ago and listed the things that we thought we were going to do, and I'll recap very briefly. We had a year of working on basic education, continuing education, research, services to members, candidates, and more, our exams. We're taking care of all of the basics with the help of the most capable staff. We're also working strategically in accordance with our strategic plan. The groundwork in 3 areas is what I'll try to go through with you today. Finding new, better ways to communicate, both speaking and listening, creating opportunities, and growing the profession internationally. Let me talk first about communications. Last October, many of you felt that you were out of touch with the work, the decisions being made by the SOA. The leadership was not in close communication with its members. It was very important for us to find new ways to listen and to speak. I can say wholeheartedly that the board, the SOA staff, are true believers in the importance of open communication with members, candidates, employers, academia, regulators, our sister actuarial organizations all around the world. We can advance if we're not able to discuss challenges, share ideas, debate ideas. Not everyone will agree on everything. We'll have contradictory ideas. We work together to propose solutions. We're taking advantage of several new tools to ensure that you hear from us and that we hear from you. You've seen some of this already in the video, but the eyes of the actuarial world were on the SOA as we became the first actuarial organization to begin blogging. Through the blog, we've had dialogue on important issues like healthcare reform, retirement, the role of the universities in the actuarial profession. Blogs are a terrific way to get into discussions in breadth and in depth, provided you participate. We know that probably 99% of people read blogs but don't contribute. I encourage you to read. I encourage you to join in the conversations. That's part of how we'll communicate with each other. We're also experimenting and starting with interactive leads. We've had 2 already this year. So it's a 1-hour webcast. In the first 30 minutes, 2 or 3 leaders, myself and Executive Director and President-elect, present on a few topics that we think are of interest. Then we open up the floor, the virtual floor for the next 30 minutes, and we answer your submitted questions. Some come in advance, some are typed in on the fly, and we answer. Sometimes we know the kinds of questions that'll come up, so we're prepared. Sometimes we don't know what questions will come up. We're not as well prepared, but we're equally fair and honest, I can tell you. So this has proved to be a very successful way, I think, to dialogue on a number of important topics. We have many more of these planned. The next one is November 3rd. We're also experimenting with Twitter. How many have a Twitter account? See, you know, this says something about the average age, I think. Anyway, I have over 330 Twitter followers. It's not quite a record, but the numbers are still growing. So I've been sharing SOA updates, news about our profession, financial news about the media, my own personal observations. I've had the privilege of visiting many foreign countries. I've even told everyone about the plight of the baby deer born in our backyard. So each tweet is 140 characters or less, so pretty soon you learn how to get to the point. We still do some old-fashioned communications, like emails. People still do send emails. I get emails on all kinds of subjects. Some are passionate pleas for intervention in some issue that a member or candidate is having. There's some nice thank you or congratulatory notes. And I even get job application requests. So I have responded to all of the member and candidate emails that I've gotten. And I hope to continue to do so. So these are some of the communication tools we're using that involve technology. By the way, the SOA staff are hard at work at new ways to use technology. I can only just give you a hint on this, but you can expect to see more useful tools and apps taking advantage of technology over the next year or two. Obviously, there is never a substitute for a face-to-face meeting like this. I certainly enjoy this kind of meeting. I hope you do too. One of the important face-to-face meetings that we've started is the Employers' Council. We meet regularly face-to-face, also by telephone, but we meet face-to-face to get perspectives of senior employers of actuaries. Many are the leading or the chief actuary of their organization, whether consulting firm, insurance firm. We've also got executive recruiters who have their ear to the ground, so to speak, of what employers need, and we're expanding with academics and non-traditional employers, a very important constituency for us. I'm glad to say we have that direct connection, and they've been very candid, they've been very active. In fact, they've been so active that they felt it wasn't enough for them to attend meetings and act as a sounding board and kind of chit-chat for a day. They volunteered to work. The Employers' Council completed a project on employment trends, future trends for actuaries in risk management, specifically in broader financial services and the energy industry. Remember, energy companies were among the first to use derivatives, something that we think is purely financial, isn't. The council presented their findings to the board on Saturday. Some of it was not a surprise. Some of it was quite sobering in terms of what we need to do to take advantage of opportunities in broader fields. You can expect to hear a lot more about this as the research is completed, as we deliver the results. In fact, several of you may already have seen my email. It went out last night. Summarized the findings and the board meeting that was just completed as of yesterday at 4 p.m. So that's just one more real live example of how we're trying to communicate much more openly, much more rapidly, so you have that information for you. In addition to face-to-face meetings like this, one of the highlights of my term, one of the unexpected pleasures, has been meeting so many of you through visits to universities and to actuarial clubs. The clubs are where a tremendous amount of continuing education takes place, a tremendous amount of networking. I've particularly enjoyed getting to meet the bright young talent that's joining the profession, the students and the candidates, those in university, those in the first stage of their job. If you saw the energy, the enthusiasm, the talent, the articulateness of the students, the candidates that are coming into the profession, you would feel very good about the future of our profession. For those of you who are not already in a local club, I encourage you to join. They're a great source of development and networking. If you're already involved, if you're an officer of a club, keep in mind that SOA resources are available to support the clubs to assist in your activities. Okay, that leads me to my second topic, creating opportunity. The old joke is that an actuary is a person with a problem for every solution. Harry Truman said it better. He said, a pessimist is one who makes difficulties of his opportunities, and an optimist is one who makes opportunities of his difficulties. Well, I'm an optimist. I boasted that I was the most optimistic actuary in the world. I had one other member of the board say that, no, he was the most optimistic actuary on the board. Well, I'm optimistic that I will win that competition. I'm an optimist. I see opportunity everywhere that there's problems. I said that when I stood up here last year. It still holds true. There's great opportunity for the profession as a whole and for each of us as individuals. We have to continue to look for ways to move into new fields, growing in our traditional fields. We'll never abandon those, but looking to new opportunities. The opportunities are everywhere regardless of specialty. So many, almost all of our actuarial areas of specialty are in the public eye. I'll give you 2 or 3 examples. Public pension issues, much in the news. Pension actuaries, there are several projects ongoing. Pension actuaries are taking a look at how to fund retirement with the Retirement 2020 initiative. We've also created a pension ERM task force to develop and apply risk management principles to public and private pensions. ERM is not just for insurers by any means. Healthcare reform, very much in the news. Health actuaries are looking at how to expand roles through our research into untapped opportunities for health actuaries. This looks for new areas for actuaries to serve the healthcare industry, and you can be certain that healthcare reform will bring many, many new, exciting, and somewhat unpredictable opportunities in this shifting market. Financial reform, very much in the news, with the Frank Dodd financial reform legislation that passed earlier this year. Numerous opportunities for actuaries to get involved, to help companies navigate through this legislation. It contains many features. For example, there's a new Financial Services Oversight Council to oversee systemic risks. This is what we've been talking about now for years, various kinds of risk management, something that's near and dear to our heart, something that we think we understand very well. Systemic risks for all financial institutions, including insurers. And there's a new federal insurance office. I predict a big impact on our businesses and on our profession from these new emerging areas, new kinds of legislation. There are other fields, relatively traditional fields in terms of use of actuarial skills, such as the environment. I'll talk about that in a minute. Expense analysis, transportation, even sports statistics, where skills that actuaries already have are applicable. This is a particular area, an example of where we can learn from what's happening in other countries. Places like Australia, South Africa, France, Mexico, where actuaries are already involved in wider fields, not just the confines of insurance and pensions. There are also a number of new areas that can benefit from our skills. What about more advanced use of analytics? There's many applications for that. Agent-based modeling, complexity science. Back in 2000, Stephen Hawking predicted that the next century will be the century of complexity. There's already a huge body of literature. There's groups of thinkers, including actuaries, moving this science forward. Very, very interesting. We'll build better models as a result of these new sciences. We'll increase our understanding of risk. We'll be serving our community. We'll be serving our public. The opportunity that I see, though, is not only for those just early on in their career, those bright new associates, CERAs, and FSAs. There's plenty of opportunity for our more seasoned actuaries. For example, greater expectations are being put on boards, on corporate boards, to strengthen risk oversight and corporate governance functions. Boards need expertise in risk management of various types, financial management. These are fields where actuarial skills are directly applicable. I've appointed a new SOA task force to explore the potential for actuaries to serve on corporate boards and looking into how we encourage that to happen, an important area for our more seasoned actuaries. To keep up with the latest advances and take advantage of these opportunities, we need that top-notch research. We need continuing professional development. I'll talk for a moment about professional development and research. The continuing development of our professional skills assures our employers and clients of the expertise backing up our credentials. We're working hard to bring you more and better professional development, better content, and a variety of formats. We're adding more e-learning, more webcasts, more virtual sessions. We've had over 50 webcasts and virtual sessions available this year. The year isn't over. We've got more planned for future years. In addition, we have our e-learning and FSA e-courses that are available anytime. After all, you can download the newspaper to your Kindle. Why shouldn't you be able to take greater advantage of technology to learn in a format that's convenient? We've completely reframed our professional development by bringing in the competency framework. This was developed by actuaries for actuaries, but it has much wider applicability. I encourage you to take advantage of it. Find it on the website. I personally have found it useful in day-to-day work way beyond actuarial matters. Very soon, another development, we'll have a self-assessment tool available to help each of us identify our strengths and abilities, help us grow in our career. As to research, the SOA continues to produce quality research that advances our profession and helps drive our media visibility. So far this year, we've had 37 research projects and experience studies. Over 100 more are in progress. A lot of work being done by volunteers, by staff. We also collaborate with many other organizations to generate research. We collaborate with consulting firms, with universities, and last but not least, other actuarial organizations. We have a collaborative research group comprising 10 North American actuarial organizations. We try to avoid duplication, to avoid gaps, coordinate to match the research needs and the research capabilities. This group is working on many projects. I'll mention just two in particular that will have broad applicability. The first is to examine the risks of severe inflation or deflation on financial security systems and the economy. This is something broadly applicable to all areas of actuarial science, in fact, all areas of the economy. In addition to evaluating probability and severity of risks in a report, we think that they will be able to produce useful practical models, make those available to all actuaries. The second project is to create a climate change index. This project will examine and analyze a variety of metrics that are available and produce an index, hopefully, that quantifies the extent of climate change. We won't get into the politics of who caused it, but can we measure it? That's an area that actuaries can be involved. Both projects will bring benefits to the public, to our community, and showcase actuaries and our knowledge on important issues. The research is helpful with our media outreach efforts. When you talk to the media, and we'll hear from Ted Koppel later on this, when you talk to the media, you better have something interesting to say, preferably something specific, preferably something involving numbers, preferably something where your message is crisp and clear. This year, I would say we've made some great strides in spreading the word about our profession to employers, clients, and the general public. Studies such as the cost of medical errors, also the risks and process of retirement have been featured in Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Consumer Reports. Our knowledge of life expectancy was even highlighted on the Dr. Oz show, as you saw Alice Rosenblatt mention in the video. These channels have national and international audiences, and which actually is a segue into my final point, international matters, international growth. The SOA is, we believe, the largest actuarial organization in the world, probably one of the most influential. We're growing very well. In 2006, we had over 18,600 members. Today, almost 22,000 members. The number of candidates has grown from 8,700 back then to almost 10,000, and the year isn't over yet. Our international growth is even more rapid. In my role as president, I've had the great fortune to meet many of our international leaders, some of whom are here today, members and candidates, as I've traveled almost around the world on behalf of the profession. Let me first focus, though, on our members in Canada. Actually, I view Canada as a home country, not an international neighbor. 18% of our SOA members are in Canada. In our 2009 member and candidate survey, many of the comments that we got reflected the sentiment from a member who said Canadian members seem to get less than US members for their dues. We've heard that before, we're hearing it again, and we are taking action. So we're working specifically with the Canadian Institute of Actuaries to be sure that we offer more professional development that better reflects the needs of our Canadian colleagues. We have plans also in the works to have a physical SOA staff presence in Toronto. Our members internationally span 65 countries. 12% live outside of the US and Canada. As the largest actuarial organization, we want to support the profession worldwide. It's our duty, it's our privilege to do that. To that end, I appointed the SOA's International Membership Strategy Task Force. Asia, especially China and Hong Kong, is our fastest growing segment of membership. So we're working with volunteers in China to provide additional resources, professional development, and other opportunities in their native language and in their own time zones, knowing a webcast at noontime, which is 1 a.m. in Hong Kong, and in a language that they're not as comfortable with. So we had a professionalism webcast that took place last week in Mandarin, and more are planned. We're looking at ways of expanding other strategic initiatives internationally. You've probably all heard about our highly successful Centers of Actuarial Excellence program. We have 17 universities that we've certified as Centers of Actuarial Excellence in the US and Canada based on the quality of their actuarial science program, their faculty, research, and several other criteria. Expanding this program internationally will attract more candidates to our profession and strengthen the academic branch of the profession internationally. I can't talk about international growth without mentioning a little more about the CERA, one of my favorite projects. We've achieved several milestones this year, transforming the CERA into a truly global credential. On November 13th, 2009, the SOA and 13 other actuarial organizations from 12 countries signed a treaty to establish the CERA as the globally recognized risk management credential. On May 7th, 2010, the CERA Global Association was formed as a legal entity to handle the administrative requirements and the ownership of the intellectual property. On September 1st, I signed the final documents transferring ownership of intellectual property, the brand and so on, from the SOA to the new CERA Global Association. They will be issuing the credential going forward on the authority of the award signatories. So this is pretty much the final step in creating the new organization. This proves and turns our CERA into a truly globally owned credential. Already 3 actuarial organizations are authorized to grant the CERA. The SOA, of course, we were the first. We have over 710 CERAs. They're not all here, but quite a few. In the UK, the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries is authorized as an award signatory, and the Institute of Actuaries of Australia. 3 other organizations are immediately behind: the Casualty Actuarial Society, the Actuarial Society of South Africa, and the Dutch Actuarial Association. As we add additional organizations, we will establish and increase the credibility of the CERA as a global credential. It benefits the actuarial profession worldwide, and it benefits actuaries here in North America as well. Okay, moving on. I think we have made great strides in the areas of communication, creating opportunities, growing internationally. I hope you agree. Growth involves risk. Risk is opportunity. That's what we say as actuaries. To borrow a phrase from the actor and comedian Will Rogers, you've got to go out on a limb sometimes because that's where the fruit is. Well, we're reaching out for the fruit. That is wider applications of actuarial science. We're expanding our horizons internationally into broader industries, we hope, and into greater influence in the public domain. I hope that each of you reaches for the fruit in your careers, in your lives. I also hope that each of you feels that you've benefited directly from the SOA. I feel that I have, and I certainly hope you agree. Just to conclude on a personal note, it has been my great honor to serve as your president. A year goes by very quickly. Of course, we've had our challenges. Not everybody agrees on every subject. We've had disagreements, sometimes sharp disagreements. But as the old Jamaican proverb says, what don't kill you? Well, we're stronger. It's been very gratifying. I'm glad I've made a contribution to the profession. I have a couple of thank yous. I would like to say thank you to my wife, Mary, who has been particularly patient with the long trips and the numerous phone calls. My lovely daughters have also been very supportive. My employers at Deloitte have been amazingly supportive. They've allowed me to spend, let's just say, a lot of time in this role. I must thank also the members of the board of directors. They've been very supportive, occasionally argumentative, but always dedicated to the best interests of the Society of Actuaries. And most of all, I would like to thank each of you for the support that you've given me throughout this year. Thank you very much.